the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast presented by Omaha Steaks. Josh All with you, and I've got Kenny McAttack is back on the show again today. Kenny, what's going on, man?
Not too much, just surviving the rain up here, but I am pumped to do another draft simulation. Let's see who we can get going, and let's make this team better.
That's right. So, like Kenny said, we are going to be doing something a little different today. So we did a mock draft. Actually, we did 2 mock drafts 2 weeks ago. Go back and check out that episode, see what kind of rosters or, draft classes we put together. But today we're going to do something a little different. We are actually going to go head-to-head mock draft battle. So Kenny is going to be on the right side of the screen. I'm going to be on the left. And we're just going to go pick for pick and make our selections. And at the end of the day, we will have you guys tell us in the comments and voting on social media who came out with the better mock draft. It's going to be a ton of fun. Kenny's got some technical difficulties due to that rain he mentioned. So if his audio's a little weird or video's a little clunky, bear with us because he's got a little weather going on up there.
Yeah, it's not just me.
No, it's not. So actually, we had some pretty nasty storms just the other night. So it happens. It definitely happens. Just want to mention real quick before we get started, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on audio, especially Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star written review, and those really help out the show. Get us in front of more Browns fans like you guys. And reminder, Friday night, draft night 2, going over rounds 2 and 3. Kenny Mac will be in studio. We're going to be live on YouTube covering everything that's happening in rounds 2 and 3. We're going to be with you guys breaking down what happened the night before on the first round, talking about where all the players went, the trades that went down, all the crazy stuff that nobody saw coming. It happens every year, and we can't wait to discuss it all with you guys. Jump in the chat because we're going to be doing all of that, and we're going to be taking you guys into pick 54 if the Browns keep it, and 85 that night. And it's just going to be a great time, Kenny. Can't wait to have you in studio.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, I'm super pumped to get down to see you guys on Friday. I'm actually going to be at the draft on Thursday. Where I grew up, it's about 39 minutes to the border, or that's where my sister lives now anyways. And so I'll be there. I can't wait to hang out with some other Browns fans just to see how the draft night unfolds. We got really no skin in the game, so it's just going to be a party for us and us getting together, seeing what we need the next day and see how the board falls. So if any of you guys are watching, if you're there, I'll be there. Come and say hi. Maybe we'll take some pictures or do an intro for the Dawgs Podcast. It's going to be super awesome.
All right, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to get your firsthand experience on Friday from what you saw and everything that happened Thursday night at the first round and everything like that. And what you said is key because we've said this multiple times on the show, and we'll reiterate it here. The Browns don't need anything in the draft, which is awesome. We are in a position where we don't need anybody we draft to start or play meaningful snaps outside of injury fill-in this season whatsoever. And that is a great position to be in. And we didn't do this on the show yet, but it's not a huge signing, but the Browns did just sign an offensive tackle. He's played some guard, Jermaine Afidi. He was a first-round pick, I think, in 2016 for the Seahawks, played there 4 years, and then went to, he went to another team than the Falcons, and I don't think last year I think he was on the Bills practice squad, but we just continue to bolster the depth.
Lions uniform too, so
yes, maybe that's what it was.
All over.
Yeah, so we bolster the depth, and the thing is, we've been signing depth pieces at all the positions that we're going into the draft thinking, well, these are the areas we need to focus on, and we still do. But the thing is, the Browns have put themselves again in even a stronger position to just take best player available based on their board and based on how they value positions. Now, I say best player available based on their board because we might at home be sitting there saying, oh, there's a running back on the board at 54 that we love. But on their board, based on how they value positions, maybe there's an offensive guard, maybe 5 or 6 spots down on somebody else's board that the Browns were like, hey, this guy was, and according to our board, he should have already been gone. So, that it just all depends on how they've got it drawn up.
Yeah, so you and I have been talking about what the Browns actually need, and you have to really go to the back end of the roster, fill it out, but let's get some guys on a meaningful contract to get and supplant the starters that we already have. And we've talked about it before. I'm going to kind of base my stuff off of who's going to be injured and what's going to be a gaping hole if that injury occurs.
Okay.
And we've talked about it. Like, I think tight end is going to be a gaping hole. If things don't work out with Bush, you've said this a couple times in the last week. You look at that linebacker position, there could be a gaping hole, right? Even at the guard position. Now, we just picked one up today, so I'm feeling a little bit better about a guy that has meaningful snaps. And so maybe I won't look at guard as high, but we got two high-priced guys, and they're going to retire or they're going to be gone at some point, or they're not. We might not move them to the next level or the next contract.
Yeah, that's a good point. And again, we'll see how our mock drafts shake out, but taking a guard who potentially could start this year, depending on how things go through camp and how the Browns feel, that gives them flexibility with Wyatt Teller and his contract. And it doesn't necessarily mean a trade would happen in the spring or the summer, but who knows what happens toward the trade deadline in the season. So it's just all kinds of things.
Right.
But we are going to do our head-to-head mock draft. I have no idea how long this is going to take, so we will see. But what we're actually going to do, we're going to have both drafts side by side on the screen. And Kenny, I think we'll go over a couple ground rules here. So sure. I'm going to go ahead and let you pick first. Okay, so you'll get the first pick. So we'll get to 54. You'll pick, and then I'll go to 54, and I'll make my pick. And I think a rule that I want to lay down is we cannot have duplicate players in our drafts.
Yeah, I've already thought about that.
Okay.
And obviously the one major rule that we know is there's not going to be any trades.
Yeah, right. So we're not going to do any of it because we're going to use Pro Football Network Simulator. Mock trades always pop up when you're on the clock. We're just going to disregard those. We're just going to make the Browns picks. And, Kenny going first, if he takes a guy that whenever I get to 54 is on the board and I want to take him, I can't take him. So I'll have to pivot. And I think it'll make it a little more interesting. So do you have anything else
Absolutely.
You want to add?
No, I mean, if you guys see us take a guy that's super low, it means we would have probably traded in some scenario, but we do want to get this podcast done at some point as well. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, honestly, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or, just listening at home, if you want to play along, pull up Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator on your phone, go through your own mock drafts, take screenshots, and post them on our social media on Twitter and Facebook. And well, I guess that's probably pretty much it. But tag us on social media with your mock drafts, and if we get the opportunity, we'll pull some of those up during the draft show next Friday and comment on what you guys came up with in your mock drafts as well. So, Kenny, let's get this head-to-head started.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so like I mentioned, we got our two drafts up on the screen. Kenny's on the right, I'm on the left. And Kenny, we'll go ahead. We got this set up for 7 rounds. We're going to go fast. We are the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to enter your draft. And let's get you to 54. So it takes.
Let's go, Brownies. Come on.
That's right.
Let's get somebody good.
Here we go, rolling through Thursday night. Browns don't need to worry about nothing. We will be with you guys on Friday instead, and we'll be going through these 40s and everything, and right up to pick 54. Kenny is on the board. What are you seeing here with the guys on your list?
All right, so I am looking at. I love Trey Benson, and let's see who else we got here. Who do we have for offensive lineman? Can you just check who we got for offensive line? I'm looking for Patrick Paul.
Patrick Paul looks like he is not on the board. Let me go into offense here. I'll bring up your tackles. So you got Roger Rosengarten, Karina Menjidi, and Blake Fisher are kind of your top 3 tackles still on the board. And then guard, Cooper Beebe still on the board, Christian Mahogany from Boston College, and Dominic Booney from Kansas.
Okay, I'm going to go for I really want to do something about the guard position. I think Cooper Beebe is going to be a great addition to the Cleveland Browns. Just with him, like he's a 9.3 on his RAS.
Yeah.
And he's got over 30 games under his belt. Now, the other thing that I think that the Browns are looking for, based on what Barry's been saying, is that he wants a pretty good medical report. Now, from what I've read on him, I don't think that he's missed any games. And if you take a look at the guy, he's 6'3". He's 322 pounds, so that's a 72 percentile. Anything over 17 or 70% is what I'm kind of looking for. Shuttle run was awesome. The 10-yard was 79, so he's just barely over 80, almost 80 there. His 40 time is 93 percentile. So I'm really looking forward to having that guy on the team. I think he can take a place of one of the guys in the future. And one of the things that, if you listen to a lot of pundits, and I think it's right, is that there's a lot of money on that offensive line while you're paying the quarterback. Something's got to give.
I agree with you 100%. He's actually a name that I was hoping would be on the board when I got to pick. So now I will not be able to take Cooper Beebe because you're taking Cooper Beebe, but offensive guard out of Kansas State. I think that he is a plug-and-play, day one starting caliber offensive guard. I think once they get him in and through camp and everything, this is the guy that I was alluding to earlier, where if you had the opportunity to take a Cooper Beebe at 54, you have flexibility now with a guy like Wyatt Teller. Not that we're trying to push Wyatt Teller out the door. Not that if I was the GM, I would just automatically trade him. But I'm just saying it gives you that flexibility. If this guy shows that, hey, I think he could handle this starting spot, kind of like DeJuan Jones at right tackle last year, Wyatt Teller is one of those contracts that there's cap space to be gained by moving him.
And I think if Wyatt Teller gets in the right situation, like a Carolina this year, if he was a free agent, they would throw a lot of money at him.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
It's money that he deserves, and I don't want to forsake it to him to make that money. But the Browns, with where we're at, it's not going to happen.
No, definitely not. And it sucks because I love Wyatt Teller. I mean, we get Christmas cards from him
100%.
and his wife, so it's pretty cool. But that's all good. So I'll go ahead and select Cooper Beebe here for you, and your draft is going to go ahead and roll. I'm going to bounce over here and I'll get my draft started. So let's see who ends up on the board at 54 for me. This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, nothing says summer is on its way like the taste of a juicy, tender burger that is grilled to perfection. And nobody does burger perfection like Omaha Steaks. And right now, when you guys go to omahasteaks.com/dogs, you can order the limited time Burger Perfection Flight. This is one of my favorite deals from last year that they did, and I'm so glad they're doing it again. You guys get 24 mouth-watering steak burgers, not just regular burgers, freaking steak burgers. The pure ground filet mignon burgers, the New York strip burgers, the ribeye burgers, the brisket burgers, the sirloin burgers, and the all-new porterhouse burgers. And you get all of that for just $89.99 when you use our code DAWGS DOGS when you check out. Each 6-ounce burger is filled with flavor, from the mild and tender filet mignon to the rich and buttery ribeye. The quality and deliciousness of these burgers can only come from Omaha Steaks, and they are guaranteed to satisfy. And guys, at $3.75 a patty, you really can't beat that with the price of food right now. And the price of meat in the grocery stores is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot beat this deal. $90, $89.99 for 24 of these phenomenal, delicious, awesome steak burgers. And you get all of that when you use code DOGS at checkout. Go to omahasteaks.com, order the Burger Perfection Flight today, and do not forget to use that promo code DOGS, DAWGS, when you check out to get everything, the 24 delicious burgers. Hurry, because these supplies are limited. Take advantage of this opportunity now before supplies run out. omahasteaks.com/dogs, promo code DOGS. Before we move on, Ohio, Bet365 is offering new users $150 in bonus bets this month. To receive your bonus bets, all you have to do is sign up for Bet365 using our link, make a first deposit of $10, and place a $5 wager on any game. Once that first $5 bet settles, you will receive $150 in bonus bets, even if you lose the bet. To be eligible for this sign-up bonus, you must sign up through our link down in the description. So if you haven't yet signed up for Bet365, click our link in the description and place that first bet. This offer is only available for new customers who are 21 and older and physically present in Ohio. Please gamble responsibly. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check the episode description for the full terms to see if you can qualify. All right, so we are rolling into 54 for me, and it does not matter. Cooper Beebe, not on the board, but a guy that I never have seen on the board whenever I pick a 54 is sitting on the board. That is unreal. Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Talked to Barry Shuck about him from the Senior Bowl. Barry came away just blown away by Tyler Guyton. This guy is humongous. He's 6'7", 322, a 9.73 RAS. I mean, I know a lot of people might be thinking, why would you be trying to go offensive tackle here? You've got Jones and Wills and Conklin. And that is true, but after this season, you might just have DeWand. We don't know what's going to happen with Jed. We don't know if he's going to take the next step, if he's going to be worth extending any further. We don't know what's going on with Conklin. His health is a big issue with him. But Tyler Guyton sitting on the board here, I'm flabbergasted that he's available, but I'm going to pick him because that's huge value. I don't see why the Browns wouldn't do that. If he wasn't on the board, I'd be looking at Zach Frazier from West Virginia, the offensive lineman. I'd be looking at Leonard Taylor, defensive tackle from Miami, and I would be looking at, Chris Braswell, the edge rusher from Alabama, is on the board too. That's tempting, and so is Michael Hall, defensive tackle from Ohio State. But I'm going to take Tyler Guyton and so we're both going O-line at 54. That's pretty cool.
You got some gems there, my man. Those are great. And getting an offensive tackle, I think, is a really, really good idea. Jed Wills, I think he's all right, but I just question his passion for football. And I'm not saying he doesn't love it, but I don't think he would. It's not that he doesn't love it. It's just that I don't think he's as diehard into it as one should be for football. It just kind of shows in his overall demeanor.
Yep, I'm with you 100% on that. So, all right, you are on the board now with pick 85, and what are you going to do here?
All right, let me take a look here. So I have what I'm going to do. Can you just check out the running back situation for me?
Sure. Running back looks like we're Blake Corum sitting at the top. Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, and Audric Estime are kind of your top four guys there.
This is what I kind of fell in this exact same scenario just before we started this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for Allen from Wisconsin.
Okay.
Now, number one, I think I would have traded back about a couple spots to try and get him. But I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys are going to take him because I believe they're just behind us, are they not? Or maybe not in this scenario.
Yeah, they're in 87.
Yeah, okay, so they're at 87. So I'm trading in front of them still, but they could trade ahead of us. I'm not sure. The reason why I'm going for this kid is I don't want to see him in the AFC North except on our team. And I believe in the last episode he did or the previous one is that guy's going to end up in the AFC North and he's going to end up as a battering ram, either for the Steelers or behind
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, thanks. And I almost said Eddie George there for some reason. And I maybe he kind of reminds me of Eddie George. That's why I had that on my brain. I don't know, but he's a big kid. He's 240 pounds. I'm just going to bring it up right now, but he is number 84 on the freak list. And he has got 25 starts under his belt. I think every year he's went for about 1,000 and about 10 plus touchdowns. And that's what I want to see him do for the Browns. But the reason why I really want this guy is because we lost Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is not coming back, and that's about 11 touchdowns, which was about 9 rushing, 2 receiving, if I'm correct, that we're leaving on the board or leaving the actual Browns. That being said, this kid here seems to be able to get touchdowns throughout the year. With his size, I just want to ram him right behind our offensive line, the guys that are pulling all the money. And now that we have BB, he can pull and run right behind him, and we can get those touchdowns and those first downs that we need to keep the ball moving to help our quarterback out. Because one of the biggest things is, where I'm going offense, is to help Deshaun in any way get to the quarterback that he can be from a couple years ago.
I like it, man. Okay, so we will go Braylon Allen, and again, he's just 20 years old. He's a very, very young running back, so that is another strong plus in his favor, and I think that he could definitely perform pretty well in the AFC North. So I like the pick. Now, I'm over here at my draft at 85. I'm on the board, and I'm glad that I was able to get Tyler Guyton, but I really like Roger Rosengarten. He's a tackle from Washington, and Karan Amejidi is the tackle from Yale. The Browns have met with him. These two guys are on the board. So here's where I'm thinking, maybe I didn't need to go with that tackle, but the value was too good for me not to do it there. So I'm sitting here in the second round, and man, I'll tell you what, there are some guys on the board that I like. I'm looking at Mason Smith, defensive tackle from LSU, and then down a little bit, Tavondre Sweat, the defensive tackle from Texas. I know he's got the DUI drinking issues that are just dropping him down the board. I don't know after Perion Winfrey if I'm really willing to kind of take that kind of swing on a guy again. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, I'm going to take Mason Smith, defensive tackle from LSU. I just think that's a pretty good value on the board there. I think it helps bolster the depth of defensive tackle because I know we've got a lot of guys right now, and I've talked about how the defensive line is pretty full right now, but I do think there's probably a spot for one guy, and I think it gives you the opportunity to maybe move somebody here in the spring and the summer if need be. So I'll go ahead and do that. Mason Smith from LSU.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to think if you're on a one-year contract, you're not necessarily going to make the team. If anything, it just drives competition, which will be amazing. This guy has got a wingspan that's like 98 percentile, and his height is in 91. So he's got a lot of things that you can't teach or add to a player. So with Jim Schwartz, I think he's a great fit, and I think that's a great pick.
Well, thanks, Kenny. I appreciate that. All right, man. So you're up. Now, one thing I've doing these mock drafts, the wait between 85 and 156 is long. There are a lot of guys that get drafted in that range. So like you said with the Braylon Allen pick, there's an opportunity to trade back a little bit into that range, 156, maybe trade up a little bit in that range if there's a guy they like who's fallen down the board a little bit. So that is definitely a big gap there. But here you go, you're at 156 and...
All right, so I still, at the beginning of the show, said that there's a gaping hole at tight end if something happens with Njoku. So if you can pull up who's available at tight end.
Absolutely.
This is another scenario where I might trade back.
Yeah. Here's your tight end situation. Tanner McLaughlin from Arizona, Tip Riemann from Illinois, Dallin Hoker, Colorado State, Brevin Spann-Ford, Minnesota, A.J. Barner, Michigan. But now
ultimately,
go ahead.
Ultimately, what I do here is I would go. I don't know if you remember, or maybe was it you on the end of the Dawgs podcast, but I got in a debate with a guy about picking tight end for the second round, and he was big into Tip Reitman there, and I checked him out. I'm pretty impressed with what he offers for where we're picking him. I believe he's like 270 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for pulling that up. He's 6'4". From what I read, his measurables are unreal.
992 Raz.
His Raz is huge, and I think at the value just for that alone in development, I would love to have that. The only thing is I got a little soft spot in my heart for the guy in Arizona because he's Canadian. He's from Alberta. He's from Lethbridge. He is supposed to be an amazing blocker. And that's something that I want to see behind Njoku. But based on the size of Reitman, I'm thinking that he can do that and he should be fine. And I'm going to see if I have him pulled up here. Oh, I actually do have him pulled up. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if it gives me anything on his ability to block. 41 receptions, 420 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, at the end of the day, this guy can we're going to throw him some 50-50 balls just based on his height. But he's a guy that seems like he probably could have played basketball. I mean, his role is basically inline blocking tight end. And if that guy basically knows where the first down marker is, I'll be happy and I'll take him.
Okay, so you want Tip Riemann from Illinois?
Yeah.
All right, so Kenny's getting a tight end. So there you go, Kenny. We'll just kind of take a peek here. So far, you've gone Cooper Beebe, Braylon Allen, and Tip Riemann. And I am over here on pick 156. And I've got some decisions to make because at the top of my board is kind of a good value that I was hoping to see there. Marshawn Lloyd, the running back from USC, is on the board, and he's in the top 3, maybe top 5 at the worst, depending on whose rankings you're looking at, running backs in this class. Jonah Ellis, the edge rusher out of Utah, is on the board. I've already taken a defensive lineman. And I know how much Andrew Berry likes his defensive lineman. Oh, boy. I got Eric All if I wanted to go tight end. Jaheim Bell, tight end, is also on the board.
I like Jaheim Bell. I think you can run him in different situations. He can be an H-back. He can be a fullback. He can be a tight end. He even played running back. I think you guys covered that in one of your mock shows in the last little bit. He could be a great, I don't want to say gadget player, but he might keep the defense on the back of their heels a little bit. And based on what the offense is looking for, that's somebody that I consider just didn't find him on my end.
Yeah, no, and I mean, he'd be a value based on the rankings of this draft. But I think I'm going to get a little bit reckless here. I'm actually going to do our boy Gage Tucker a favor. I talked about this on a previous episode. I'm taking wide receiver Jalen Coker from Holy Cross because we talked about him the other night. Gage has gotten us very much familiar with Jalen Coker. Now, the big thing with him, like I mentioned before, smaller school, lesser competition, not really sure if he can handle the competition of the pro-level cornerbacks and defenders in the NFL. But the dude dominated. He's got I think it was a 9.46 RAS. He's 6'1", 210. Big body receiver. He's got great hands, does not drop the ball, and he scores touchdowns, which is huge. He's got 30 touchdowns in his college career. I just think for this spot at 156 to get a guy like that who's got potential I would say he has wide receiver 2 upside. I think obviously if you hit a home run, I mean, that'd be awesome. But I think he could be a serviceable wide receiver 3, which on our offense, we're still looking for a guy to be reliable kind of in that role. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Coker, wide receiver from Holy Cross.
Nice. Great pick. Again, there's something that you're helping out Deshaun with. He has the speed to take the top off the D, and that's generally what you want out of a receiver based on what's on this team right now.
That's right. All right, man. 206, you are on the board.
So 206, we got a guard already, and I haven't drafted any linebackers yet. We definitely need something for special teams. We need somebody that's a thumper. Let's see who we got for linebacker here.
Okay, so linebacker, we'll pull that up. You got your Ed from Washington, Edufon Ulofoshio. Omar Spates is on the board. Jackson Mitchell. Yeah, so go ahead and take a gander here.
I'm going for the kid from Washington.
Okay.
We've already discussed him. Not too much to say. Sideline to sideline guy. Let's get him behind that defensive line that we have and make some tackles, man, and earn your keep on special teams.
Okay, 206. Kenny has taken Ed from Washington, a guy we took in previous mock draft 2 weeks ago when we did ours. So 206 over on my board. I'm sitting here and I've got Tip Riemann has fallen to me. I can't take him because you did. I could take Tanner McLaughlin if I wanted to take a tight end. There's your Canadian guy, right? Let's see.
Yep.
Who else is on the board here. I just want to take a peek. And okay, that kind of stinks. So I was going to take D. Camarion Richardson out of Mississippi State if he was still on the board, but he went about 8 picks or so, maybe whatever, before mine. So, okay, no big deal. I wanted to try to get a cornerback because we know that Andrew Berry really likes his corners. And, oh, man, some of these guys, I'm just not as familiar with the cornerback position as I should be, especially at this point in the draft. So I think I'm going to Maybe I'll take a gander at my running back boards. Nothing really crazy jumping out at me there. I'll go ahead and I'll do the Tanner McLaughlin pick because I know you liked him as well. I think I'll go ahead and grab him here. Get that tight end.
He's another guy that's going to be like an inline blocker. His blocking's very, very good to come into the league, so it's something you don't have to teach him. I mean, there's always things that they got to work on, but I think he's another guy that you could do a 50-50 ball to. If you got anything that's like Tunyon or something along that lines where the guy just knows the first down and gets it, I think that's the way to go for tight end.
All right. Well, that's what we got going on here. So you are on the board now with pick 227. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to take a look at the guys that have the highest RAS at this point. I want to go for pure athletic talent, and I want the coaches that we have to get the most out of that talent because that's what they're there for. There's two guys right at the top of the list, Logan Lee and the guy from James Madison there. I just can't see his name.
Jamry Chroma.
Yeah, I believe the guy from James Madison has played the lesser competition but has the bigger RAS score. And based on our needs, I think he can kind of sit on what's his RAS score there?
It was a 967, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going for that, and I'm going to get Coach Schwartz to do his magic and see what he can get out of this guy. Generally, he's probably going to stay on inactive for most of the season. Hopefully, he can push Sayaki Ika, and maybe those two will be a formidable twosome in the future, or they're pushing someone else, and they're going to be better than they are in the end.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. So I'm sitting over here then at 227, and there's a guy on the board that I like, and I'm going to take him. I know, man, and I'm going against everything I've already said in the past couple of weeks about our defensive line being pretty stacked the way it is. But Andrew Berry and the Browns front office highly value the defensive line. You can never have enough edge rushers. I'm going to go ahead and take a swing on Eric Watts, the edge out of UConn. He's 6'5", 274. He's a big dude, an 831 RAS. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of high on him. So at this point in the draft, let's like you said, find some athletic, upside, some physical advantages, and see what happens. Coach him up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
All right, and that gets you on the clock for your last pick of your side of the draft at 243.
So at 243, I've generally been drafting a linebacker. Again, I want to fill out that room. It's pretty depleted from what I see, and you can push the guys that are currently there. If you can pull up the linebacker, is the kid from UCLA there?
I don't see anybody from UCLA.
No, so I think my next bet is Luke Reimer. I think he was the biggest guy that was left on the board out of these guys here.
220. Yeah, 6 foot 223, 6'4" RAS.
Yeah, I mean, I just need a guy for special teams. I think I'm going to go that route. He's I think I read his profile. There was something about him. It was either tackling or it was sideline ability. I was like, this guy's going to be great for special teams, and then hopefully he can work his way onto the team like Justin Kanasic or something along that lines and be a leader on both special teams and defense.
I like it. Okay, so I'm up with my last pick at 243, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to take a guy that Brian Bosarge mentioned to us on the episode last weekend about some later picks that he really likes, thinks could be a good value, and I'm going to take Kamani Vidal, the running back out of Troy. Looks like he's 5'7", so he's smaller, but he's 213, well built, 888 RAS, and Brian was pretty high on him. So I think I'm going to go ahead and trust the expert opinion, and I'm just going to grab that running back because there's a linebacker that was still on the board here, that Nathaniel Watson, I believe it's Mississippi State, that perhaps could be a UDFA, can maybe fill a void that way. So, all right, Kenny, we have wrapped it up. Your board comes out, your draft class for the 2024 Browns is Cooper Beebe, Braylon Allen, Tip Riemann, Edifwan Ulofoshio, Jamri Chroma, and Luke Reamer. You actually took 2 linebackers in this draft class.
Yeah.
So you got a guy who could probably fill in.
Linebacker situation, and I just got some guys that are thumpers and that can run the field, and both are a little bit older. But for the money that the Browns put on that position, I'm all right with him being a little bit older. I mean, here's the thing that I was saying before. He's got good twitch. That's Reamer. Shows good speed and closing burst when blitzing. He's built like a defensive back, though, so you're kind of like doing the same thing that you're doing with JOK.
Yeah, but
I mean, that might spell the end for Fields.
Exactly. Tony Fields on the last year of his deal anyway, so this could just be a slide Reamer in there, and Fields is on out after this season. So, I mean, a pretty seamless transition, potentially.
Yep.
So over on my side, I kicked things off. Could not believe Tyler Guyton was still on the board at 54, so I took the tackle out of Oklahoma, followed it up with Mason Smith, and then I drafted Jalen Coker, Tanner McLaughlin, Eric Watts, and Kamani Vidal. I grabbed 2 defensive linemen. We'll see what the Browns decide to do there. I really do think they're coming away with 2 offensive linemen. There were just no guards later in this draft without doing trades and things that I was high on to select. So I decided to go the tight end at 206 and grab that running back at the end.
Yeah, so I think between the two of us, we got 1 top 30 visit in, I believe. Because I don't see...
Do we?
Yeah, I'm just looking at all the top 30 visits. Out of all the guys that are left, I don't know if you saw or noticed, but there are a couple of guys that I would definitely pick as unrestricted free agents. The one guy out of Pittsburgh named Bub, his RAS score is unreal. And I think he'd be a great addition to the receiver room.
Is that Bub means?
The other thing is I don't know if you noticed, but the Browns did a workout for a kid that was in one of the Florida schools, but not one of the big-time schools. Did you see that his name's Bayron Matos?
Yes. Yep.
So now when I see that guy, he's an offensive tackle. I believe he was 6'9" and 309 pounds. When I hear that and he played basketball, I'm thinking this guy can be a tight end. I'm throwing a 50-50 ball up to this guy all the time.
Yeah.
This guy can block. He knows blocking. Why don't you just go the other way? Now, if he can put more meat on his frame, because I didn't see how old he was. I didn't have enough time to collect a lot of data on this guy. But, I mean, maybe that's someone he would go to. And then the other guy would be Aiden Robbins, because I would just have a clone of the guy that I drafted out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing is I wanted to get bigger, and I wanted to protect Deshaun Watson to get these guys open. And then on defense, I just wanted thumpers.
Yep. Well, you got them. So let us know. We'll post these drafts, and you guys go ahead and comment. Tell us who had the better draft or whose draft you like better, and then do your own drafts. I encourage you guys, do mock drafting just for nothing else. I mean, I know it doesn't. You're not making the picks for the Browns, but at the same time, it does help you get more familiar with the names. It helps your draft viewing experience, especially like on Saturday. Because after doing all these exercises, I'm going to have a much more enjoyable time Saturday sitting on my couch, just kicking back, watching the draft on TV to see who the Browns pick, and knowing that there are names on the board that I'm familiar with that I've come to like, come to not like, and see what happens. It's just, it's more, it makes it more fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we appreciate
just
everybody.
Like Christmas Day, man.
Yes, I know. This is Christmas in April, baby. Let's do it. So we appreciate everybody tuning into this episode. We'll have probably a couple other episodes come out during the week. There will not be a live studio episode this week until Friday. Friday night's the big night. I mean, we're going to be doing a 3+ hour grind in there to bring you guys all the draft coverage for rounds 2 and 3. Can't wait to do it. Kenny Max in studio along with DF Derek Frisbee from Columbus, and Devontae Travis should be. I haven't gotten the 100% confirmation, but he should be joining us as well. We're going to have a full studio, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So make sure you jump in the chat and just hang out with us during the draft.
Heck yeah, man. Can't wait. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Until we talk to you on the next episode, let's go Browns.
Go Brownies.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by Aura. Browns fans, your online data and identity are way too precious to be left just hanging out there in the open for these data stealing thugs to come after it, take it, and sell it to whoever they want. Scammers and spammers are just capitalizing on all of your data being sold, and I'm telling you right now, you don't even realize it because I didn't realize it. Head over to Aura, AURA.com/Dawgs, DAWGS. Get a 14-day free trial. This is what I did. Create your account, and then you can run your data check, a free data check, and it will tell you how many data brokers are selling your information on the dark web and in different areas of the internet. And then Aura starts working immediately to remove your information from those places. I kept thinking I was good online. I was fine. I wasn't doing anything crazy with my information. I was being cautious while I was shopping online, all those things. And still, when I ran my check, I had 14 data brokers identified selling my information, and Aura immediately started taking my name and all my information, my address, my email, my phone number, everything out of those places. I am so sick and tired of getting the spam emails, getting the spam text messages, the calls, and it's time to put all that crap to an end. So check out Aura, 14-day free trial, run your check, see what all the features they have to offer, like their VPN, their parental controls, everything that they have to protect your online identity. Aura.com/Dawgs. Take back control of your identity today.